The universe was very big. It had thousands of planets and millions of stars. Many different races lived among these stars. Some were tall and blue. Some were small and covered in fur. Some had wings. Some had 6 legs, but all of them knew one thing. All of them feared one name. Yep. Nobody said the name loudly. They only whispered it. They whispered it in dark corners. They whispered it in government halls. They whispered it like it was a curse, like saying it too loudly would bring him to their door. Did not understand this fear. She was a young diplomat from Earth. She worked at the human embassy on Station 12. Station 12 was a giant space station. It floated between 3 galaxies. Representatives from 100 different worlds lived there. They talked about trade. They talked about peace. They talked about laws that govern the stars. And they talked about. Heard his name for the first time on her second day at the station. She was walking down a long corridor. 2 alien diplomats were talking near a window. They were from the race. They had gray skin and large black eyes. When walked past them, they stopped talking. They looked at her with something strange in their eyes. Was it fear? Was it respect? Could not tell. After she passed, she heard one of them whisper to the other. The human sent another one. Do you think she knows him? Do you think she knows? Stopped walking. She wanted to turn around and ask who was, but the 2 diplomats had already walked away. Their long robes moved quickly as they left. That night asked her supervisor about the name. Her supervisor was an older man named. He had worked at the embassy for 20 years. He knew many things about the galaxy and its secrets. Said, he put down his coffee cup. His face became serious. Where did you hear that name? 2 diplomats said, they seemed scared. They thought I might know him. Was quiet for a long moment. He looked out the window at the stars. Is a soldier, he finally said. Or he was a soldier. Nobody really knows what he is now, but the galaxy remembers what he did. What did he do? Asked. Shook his head. That is not my story to tell. Just know this. There are 12 worlds in this galaxy that have made his name forbidden. Saying it there is a crime. That should tell you everything you need to know. But it did not tell everything. It only made her more curious. In the following weeks heard the name again and again. She heard it in meeting rooms. She heard it in cafeterias. She heard it in hallways late at night, always whispered, always with fear. She started to collect stories. She asked questions carefully. She listened when others talked. Slowly, a picture began to form in her mind. The war, that was where it started. 10 years ago, the Empire attacked human colonies. They killed thousands of people. They burned cities. They thought humans were weak. They thought humans would surrender quickly. They were wrong. Earth sent soldiers to fight back. But the war was hard. They were strong. They had powerful weapons. They had many ships. Humans were losing. Then appeared. Nobody knew where he came from. Some said he was just a regular soldier. Some said he was created in a secret laboratory. Some said he was not fully human at all. But everyone agreed on one thing. When arrived, everything changed. He moved like a ghost. He appeared on ships and left no survivors. He walked into enemy bases alone and walked out through flames. He did not use an army. He did not need one. He was an army of one. They started calling him the End. They believed he was a demon sent to punish them. Their soldiers refused to fight when they heard he was coming. Their generals killed themselves rather than face him. In 6 months, the entire empire fell. But the stories did not stop there. After the war, other conflicts appeared. A group of pirates attacked human trade ships, found their hidden base. Nobody ever found the pirates again, only their empty ships floating in space. A violent cult tried to destroy a human colony, went to their temple. The cult disbanded the next day. Their leaders never spoke about what happened. They only ran. A powerful alien warlord named gathered an army of 10,000 soldiers. He promised to wipe out all humans in his sector, visited him alone. The next morning, released all his prisoners, gave away his weapons, and became a farmer. He never fought again. These stories spread across the galaxy. They grew bigger with each telling. Some said could not be killed. Some said he could be in two places at once. Some said he could read minds. Some said he enjoyed killing. Some said he never killed at all. Did not know what to believe. Is he even real? She asked one evening. Or is he just a story humans made up to scare others? Laughed, but it was not a happy laugh. Oh, he is real, he said. I met him once, many years ago. His eyes went wide. You met him, what was he like? Did not answer for a long time. He stared at his hands like he was remembering something painful. He was not what I expected, he finally said. Not what anyone expects, but I cannot say more. You will understand someday, or maybe you will not. Maybe that is better. Did not understand what meant, but she stopped asking questions after that. Months passed, did her job, she attended meetings, she wrote reports, she learned how to talk to different alien races, she learned their customs and their languages, she became good at her work. But she never forgot the name. It lived in the back of her mind like a small fire that would not go out. Then one day, everything changed. Was in her office when the message arrived. It came directly from the Galactic Senate, the highest authority in the known universe. They were requesting an emergency meeting with the human embassy. The message was short, only 3 sentences, but those 3 sentences made blood run cold. A great threat approaches. We need the human called, send him to us immediately. Read the message again and again. She could not believe it. The entire galaxy was afraid of this man, and now they were asking for him. What kind of threat could be so terrible that the galaxy needed the one person they feared most? Did not know, but she was about to find out. The emergency meeting happened the next morning. Sat in a large room with 12 other diplomats. They all looked nervous. They all looked scared. Ambassador Park, the head of the human embassy, stood at the front of the room. His face was pale. His hands were shaking slightly. I will be direct, Ambassador Park said. The Galactic Senate has made an official request. They want us to send. The room went silent. Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. Why? Someone finally asked. It was a young man named. He worked in the Trade Department. What could be so bad that they need him? Ambassador Park pressed a button. A large screen appeared on the wall. It showed a map of the galaxy. A red area was spreading across the map like a disease. The Hollow, Ambassador Park said. That is what they are calling it. 6 months ago, a fleet of unknown ships appeared at the edge of the galaxy. They attacked everything in their path. Planets, stations, ships. Nothing survived. Stared at the red area. It was huge. It covered almost a quarter of the map. We do not know where they came from, Ambassador Park continued. We do not know what they want. We only know what they do. They destroy. They consume. They leave nothing behind, not even bodies. Every planet they touch becomes empty, hollow. How many ships do they have? Asked. Thousands, Ambassador Park said. Maybe millions. Our scouts cannot get close enough to count. Anyone who gets too close never comes back. The room was heavy with fear. Could feel it pressing against her chest. She had heard about wars before. She had read about terrible battles in history books. But this was different. This felt like the end of everything. The Galactic Senate has tried to fight them, Ambassador Park said. They sent their best fleets, their strongest weapons. Nothing worked. The Hollow just keeps coming. In 3 months they will reach the central systems. In 6 months they will reach Earth. Someone in the room started crying. Could not tell who. She was too busy trying to breathe. So they want, said. His voice was shaking. They want our monster to fight their monster. Ambassador Park nodded slowly. Yes, the Senate believes is our only hope. They have seen what he can do. They think he can find a way to stop the Hollow. And what does think? Asked. Does he even want to help? That is the problem, Ambassador Park said. We do not know where is. After the incident, he disappeared. Earth Command has been trying to find him for years. They finally located him last week. He is on a small planet called Myra. It is 3 days from here. So we bring him here, said. Simple. Not simple, Ambassador Park said. Does not work for Earth anymore. He does not follow orders. He does what he wants. We cannot force him to come. We have to ask him. We have to convince him. The room was quiet again. Could see the fear in everyone's eyes. Nobody wanted to be the one to find. Nobody wanted to meet the man whose name made entire empires fall. I need a volunteer, Ambassador Park said. Someone to go to Myra, someone to find and bring him back. Nobody moved, nobody spoke. The silence was painful. Did not know why she raised her hand. Maybe it was curiosity, maybe it was bravery, maybe it was stupidity, but her hand went up before she could stop it. I will go, she said. Everyone turned to look at her. Their eyes were wide with shock. Ambassador Park stared at her for a long moment. He said slowly, "You are young. You have only been here for 1 year. Are you sure about this?" "No," said honestly, "but someone has to do it, and I want to know the truth. I want to see who this man really is." Ambassador Park nodded. There was something like respect in his eyes. "Very well, you will leave tomorrow morning. A ship has already been prepared." The meeting ended. People left the room quickly. They did not look at. They did not want to catch whatever madness had made her volunteer. Only stayed behind. He walked over to and put his hand on her shoulder. "You are brave," he said, "or foolish, I am not sure which." "Maybe both," said. Smiled sadly. "When you meet him, remember something. The stories are true, all of them, the terrible ones and the impossible ones, but they are not the whole truth. There is more to than the galaxy knows. You will understand when you see him." Nodded, but she did not understand. How could there be more? The stories already said he was a demon, a ghost, a weapon in human form. What could be more than that? That night could not sleep. She lay in her bed and stared at the ceiling. Her mind kept imagining what would look like. She imagined a giant, tall and wide with muscles like mountains, scars covering every part of his body, eyes that were cold and empty, hands that had killed thousands, a voice like thunder. She imagined a machine, something not quite human, metal under his skin, computers in his brain, no feelings, no mercy, just a weapon that walked like a man. She imagined a madman, someone who enjoyed pain, someone who laughed while cities burned, someone who had lost his soul long ago. Every image was terrible. Every image made her heart beat faster, but she did not change her mind. She had to do this. The galaxy was counting on her. The next morning boarded her ship. It was small but fast. Only a pilot and 2 guards came with her. The pilot was an older woman named. The guards were young men named, and they all looked nervous. 3 days to Myra, said as they left the station. Try to rest. You will need your strength. But could not rest. She spent the 3 days reading everything she could find about military reports, news articles, secret files that had given her. The more she read, the more confused she became. Some reports said was kind to prisoners. He never tortured anyone. He always gave enemies a chance to surrender. Other reports said he was ruthless. He destroyed entire bases without warning. He showed no mercy to those who refused to stop fighting. Some reports said he worked alone. He never wanted help. He never trusted anyone. Other reports said he had a small team once, people he cared about, people who died in the war. The reports did not match. They painted different pictures of the same man, did not know which picture was real. On the 3rd day they reached Myra. It was a small planet covered in green forests and blue lakes. It looked peaceful, beautiful, not the kind of place where a monster would live. Landed the ship near a small village. Simple houses made of wood and stone. People walking slowly through dirt roads. Children playing by a river. It looked like something from an old earth painting. "Are you sure this is the right place?" asked. "This does not look like a place for a legendary warrior." "The coordinates are correct," said. "He is here somewhere." Stepped off the ship. The air was fresh and clean. The sun was warm on her face. She could hear birds singing in the trees. It was hard to believe that somewhere in this peaceful village, the most feared man in the galaxy was waiting. "Let us find him," said. Her voice was stronger than she felt. She started walking toward the village. With every step her heart beat faster. Soon, very soon, she would meet the legend. She would see the face that haunted the dreams of billions. She was not ready, she knew that, but she walked forward anyway. The whispers had brought her here. Now it was time to face the truth behind them. The village was called Pine's Rest. It had maybe 200 people. They lived simple lives. They farmed the land. They fished in the lakes. They knew nothing about galactic wars or space stations or alien empires, or so thought. She walked through the main road with and behind her. The villagers stopped to stare at them. They were not scared. They were curious. Strangers probably did not come here often. "Excuse me," said to an old woman selling vegetables. "I am looking for someone, a man named. Do you know where I can find him?" The old woman smiled. Her face had many wrinkles, but her eyes were bright. "Of course I know him. Everyone knows he lives at the edge of the village, near the big oak tree. You cannot miss it." Blinked, she had expected fear. She had expected the woman to run away or refuse to answer. But the woman spoke the name like it was nothing special, like was just another neighbor. "Thank you," said. She was very confused. They walked to the edge of the village. The houses became smaller here, more spread out. Trees grew thick around them, and then they saw it. A big oak tree, just like the old woman said. Under the tree was a small wooden house. Smoke came from the chimney. A garden grew beside it. Vegetables and flowers mixed together. And in the garden, a man was working. Stopped walking. Her guards stopped too. They all stared at the man kneeling in the dirt. He was not big, he was not small either, just average. Maybe a bit thin. He wore simple clothes, brown pants and a white shirt, both dirty from the garden. His hair was black and messy. He was pulling weeds from around some tomato plants. "That cannot be him," whispered. "He looks like a farmer." "Maybe he has a servant," said. "Maybe the real is inside the house." But somehow she knew, the way the man moved, careful and precise. Every action done perfectly without wasting any energy. That was not how a farmer moved. That was how a warrior moved. "Stay here," said to her guards. "I will talk to him alone." But started. "Stay here," repeated. Her voice was firm. She walked toward the garden. Her legs felt weak. Her heart was pounding so hard she thought it might break her ribs. With every step she got closer to the legendary monster, the demon who made empires fall, the ghost who could not be killed. The man looked up when she reached the edge of the garden. His face was ordinary, not ugly, not handsome, just a normal face with normal features, but his eyes were different. They were deep and dark and somehow very old, eyes that had seen too much, eyes that carried heavy weight. But they were not cold, they were not empty, they were warm, kind, sad. "Hello," the man said. His voice was soft and gentle. "Can I help you?" Opened her mouth. No words came out. She had prepared a speech. She had practiced what she would say, but standing in front of him, all her words disappeared. Are you, she finally managed to ask. The man nodded slowly. "Yes, that is my name, and you are from the human embassy, I think. I saw your ship land." He stood up and brushed the dirt from his knees. Then he did something did not expect at all. He bowed. A proper, respectful bow, like she was someone important. "Please come inside," he said. "I will make tea. You must be tired from your journey." Did not move. Her brain could not understand what was happening. This polite, soft-spoken man who grew vegetables and offered tea to strangers. This was the nightmare that haunted the galaxy. The Galactic Senate sent me, said. There is a threat, something called the Hollow, they need your help. His face became serious for a moment. Something flickered in his eyes. Pain, regret. It was gone too fast to be sure. I know about the Hollow, he said quietly. I have been watching the news. It is very bad. Then you will come, asked. Hope rose in her chest. You will help us. Was quiet for a long moment. He looked at his garden, at his small house, at the peaceful village behind, then he sighed. Come inside, he said again. We have much to talk about, and the tea will help, it always helps. He walked toward his house. After a moment followed. She signaled to her guards to wait. They looked worried, but they stayed where they were. The inside of the house was simple. One room with a bed, a table, some chairs, and a small kitchen. Books lined the walls, not military books or strategy guides, poetry, philosophy, children's stories, history books from 100 different worlds. Made tea while sat at the table. Her hands were shaking. She put them in her lap so he would not see. You seem scared, said without turning around. That is normal. Everyone is scared when they first meet me. The stories make me sound like a monster. Are you not? Asked. The question came out before she could stop it. Turned around. He was holding 2 cups of tea. He set one in front of and sat across from her with the other. I have done terrible things, he said. I have killed many people. I have destroyed ships and bases and sometimes whole armies. The stories are true. I will not pretend they are not. Held her breath. Here it was, the monster behind the man. But continued, I never enjoyed it. Every death hurt me. Every life I took left a scar inside my heart. I did what I did because it was necessary. Because if I did not, more innocent people would die. I chose to carry that pain so others would not have to. He looked down at his tea. His hands were wrapped around the cup like he needed its warmth. I am not a hero, he said. And I am not a monster. I am just a man who made hard choices. A man who is very tired. Did not know what to say. This was not what she expected. Nothing was what she expected. Why did you leave? She asked. After the incident, why did you disappear? Smiled, but it was a sad smile. Because I was tired of war, tired of death, tired of seeing fear in everyone's eyes. I wanted to grow vegetables and read books and live a quiet life. I wanted to forget. But you cannot forget, said. The Hollow is coming. Millions of people will die. I know, said. He suddenly looked very old, very tired. I have been watching. I have been hoping someone else would find a way, but they have not, and they will not. He looked up his dark eyes met hers. I will come with you, he said. I will help fight the Hollow, but you must understand something first. You must understand what you are asking. What do you mean? Asked. You are asking me to become the monster again, said. To do terrible things, to make choices that will haunt me forever. You are asking me to give up my peace, my garden, my books, my quiet life. He paused. But you are also asking me to save lives, to protect innocent people, to stop something evil. He stood up and walked to the window. He looked out at his garden for a long moment. I will come, he said again. But I want you to remember this day. I want you to remember the man you saw in the garden, because after we face the Hollow, that man might not exist anymore. War changes people, even me. Stood up, she walked over to stand beside him. She did not know what made her brave enough to do it. I will remember, she said, and when it is over I will help you find your way back, to the garden, to the books, to the peace. Looked at her, something changed in his eyes, surprise, gratitude, and something else, something that looked almost like hope. Thank you, he said. That is the kindest thing anyone has said to me in a very long time. He turned away from the window, his face became serious, his posture changed, could see it happening. The farmer was disappearing, the warrior was waking up. Tell your guards to prepare the ship, said. His voice was different now, harder, more focused. We leave in 1 hour. Nodded and walked to the door. Before she left, she looked back at him one more time. He was standing in the middle of his small house, surrounded by poetry books and philosophy texts. A gentle man in a gentle place. She wondered if she would ever see this version of him again. The journey back to Station 12 took 3 days. Spent most of that time watching. She could not help it. She had expected a monster. She had found a man who read poetry and apologized when he accidentally bumped into things. On the first day, helped fix a small problem with the ship's engine. He knew exactly what was wrong. He worked quietly, his hands moving with careful precision. When he finished, he thanked for letting him help. On the second day, found in the small kitchen area. He was cooking. Real food, not the packaged meals they usually ate on ships. He had brought vegetables from his garden. He made a simple soup and shared it with everyone. Even the guards, who were still afraid of him, admitted it was delicious. On the third day, sat within the common room. She wanted to know more about him. She had so many questions. "The stories say you ended the war in 6 months," she said. "How is that possible? They had millions of soldiers." Was quiet for a moment. He was looking out the window at the stars. "I did not kill millions of soldiers," he said. "That is not how I work." "Then how?" asked. "I found their leaders," said. "Their generals, their admirals, the people who gave the orders. I visited them one by one. I gave them a choice. Stop the war or face the consequences. And they chose to stop." Shook his head. "Not at first. The first few thought I was joking. They laughed at me. They sent soldiers to kill me. The soldiers failed. Then the generals stopped laughing." "What did you do to them?" asked. She was not sure she wanted to know. "I showed them what I could do," said simply. "I destroyed their weapons, their ships, their bases, but I never killed them. I let them live. I let them watch everything they built disappear." Frowned, but that would make them angry. That would make them want revenge. "Yes," agreed. "But it also showed them something important. It showed them that I could kill them any time I wanted. But I chose not to. I gave them mercy when they expected death. That confused them. That scared them more than killing ever could." Thought about this. It made strange sense. A monster who killed was frightening, but a monster who could kill and chose not to, that was something else entirely. That was unpredictable. That was terrifying in a different way. "The generals started talking to each other," continued. "They shared stories about me, about the strange human who destroyed everything but never took lives. Some of them started to wonder. If I was merciful to them, maybe humans were not as evil as they thought. Maybe the war was wrong." "And that ended the war?" asked. "That started the end," said. "I kept visiting generals, I kept giving them choices. Some still refused. Those ones I defeated completely. I took everything from them, their power, their status, their armies, but I left them alive. I left them to think about what they had done." He turned to look at. In the end, the leaders surrendered not because they were afraid of dying. They surrendered because they were afraid of living with shame. I showed them their own cruelty. I made them face it. That was harder than death. Did not know what to say. This was not the story she had heard. The stories made sound like a killing machine, but the truth was stranger, more complicated, more human. She said, "The warlord who became a farmer, you did the same thing to him." Nodded. "Was a violent man. He had done terrible things, but when I met him I saw something in his eyes, sadness, loneliness. He did not want to be a warlord. He had become one because he did not know any other way to live." "So you showed him another way." "I showed him what he could become," said. "I talked to him all night. I told him stories about people who had changed, people who had found peace after war. I told him it was not too late. I told him he could still choose a different path." "And he believed you?" Smiled softly. "He wanted to believe, that was enough. I gave him the chance to become someone new. He took it." The ship arrived at Station 12 the next morning. Word had spread that was coming. When walked off the ship, she saw crowds waiting. Not human crowds, alien crowds, representatives from dozens of worlds. They had all come to see the legend. The whispers started immediately, heard them all around her. That is him, the human, the one they call, be careful, do not look at his eyes, he can kill with a thought. But then stepped off the ship, and the whispers stopped. Watched the aliens' faces. She saw their expressions change. Confusion, disbelief, fear that turned into something else, something she could not name. Was not what they expected either. He walked calmly through the crowd. He did not strut or swagger. He did not look threatening. He looked like a tired man who had traveled a long way. He nodded politely to people as he passed. He even smiled at a few of them. An older diplomat stepped forward. His gray skin had turned almost white. His black eyes were very wide. "You are?" he asked. His voice was shaking. "Yes," said simply. The looked him up and down. "You are smaller than I thought." Laughed. It was a warm, genuine laugh. "I get that a lot," he said. "I think the stories add a few inches each time they are told." They did not know how to respond. He just stood there, opening and closing his mouth like a fish. Then something happened that would never forget. A small creature came running through the crowd. It was a child, a young member of the Trill race, small and covered in soft blue fur, big eyes that were filled with tears. The child ran straight toward and crashed into his legs. The crowd gasped. Guards moved forward. People shouted warnings. A child had just attacked the most dangerous man in the galaxy. But did not fight. He did not push the child away. He knelt down so he was at eye level with the small creature. "Hello," he said gently. "Are you okay? Why are you crying?" The child sniffled. "I am lost," it said. "I cannot find my mother. I am scared." Smiled. "Do not be scared. We will find her together." He reached into his pocket and pulled out something small, a piece of candy. Did not even know he had candy. "Here," he said. "This will help you feel better." The child took the candy. Its tears stopped. It looked up with wonder in its big eyes. "Thank you," it whispered. Stood up holding the child's small hand. He looked around at the crowd. "Does anyone know where this child's mother is?" he called out. His voice was loud enough for everyone to hear. Not angry, not demanding, just concerned. A Trill woman pushed through the crowd. "Where are you?" She saw her child holding the hand of a human. Her eyes went wide with terror. Walked the child over to its mother. "Your little one was lost," he said, "but very brave. You should be proud." The mother grabbed her child and held it tight. She stared at like she was looking at a ghost. You are." "Just someone who helped," said. He bowed slightly, then turned and walked away. The crowd parted for him. Every alien stepped back, giving him space. But their expressions had changed. The fear was still there, but now there was something else mixed with it. Confusion. And maybe, just maybe, a tiny bit of warmth. Walked beside as they headed toward the Senate building. She finally understood something important. "That is why they fear you," she said quietly. "It is not because you can destroy them. It is because you are kind, because you give mercy when you could give death. They do not understand it. They cannot predict it. It makes you more dangerous than any weapon." Nodded slowly. People understand cruelty. They know how to respond to hate, but kindness from someone powerful, that breaks their brains. They do not have a category for it. "So your greatest weapon is compassion," said. Looked at her with those deep, sad eyes. "No," he said. "Compassion is not a weapon. It is just the right way to live. But sometimes living the right way is the most terrifying thing of all." They reached the Senate building. The giant doors opened before them. Inside, the leaders of 1,000 worlds waited. They waited for the monster. They waited for the legend. But knew the truth now. They were waiting for something far more powerful than a monster. They were waiting for a good man. The Galactic Senate chamber was the largest room had ever seen. It was round, with seats rising up like a mountain in every direction. Thousands of delegates sat in those seats, Every race, every world, every corner of the known galaxy, they had all come for this moment. In the center of the chamber there was a small platform. Stood on it alone, watched from the human section high up in the seats. From this distance he looked very small, very ordinary, but the entire room was silent. Every eye was on him. The Grand Chancellor, an ancient being made of living crystal, spoke first. Human called, the galaxy faces its greatest threat. The hollow consumes everything in its path. Our fleets are destroyed. Our weapons are useless. We have called you here because you are our last hope. Nodded. I understand, he said. His voice carried through the chamber, calm and clear. Tell me everything you know about the hollow. For the next hour, different speakers shared information. Scientists explained what they had learned. Generals described battles that had failed. Survivors told stories of worlds that had been erased. The picture was terrifying. The hollow was not just an army. It was a force of nature, a plague that spread across space, eating everything it touched. When the last speaker finished, the room fell silent again. Everyone looked at. They were waiting for a miracle, waiting for the legend to save them. Was quiet for a long time. He stood with his eyes closed, thinking. Then he opened his eyes and spoke. I need a ship, he said. A small one, fast. I will go to the hollow alone. The room erupted in chaos. Delegates shouted. Some laughed, others cried. Alone? Someone screamed. Millions of ships have failed. What can one man do? Raised his hand. The room went quiet immediately. I do not plan to fight them, he said. I plan to talk to them. More chaos, more shouting. The Grand Chancellor had to call for silence 3 times before the room calmed down. Talk to them? A delegate asked. They are monsters. They destroy without reason. They do not communicate. Everything communicates, said. Every living thing wants something. The hollow is no different. They came from somewhere. They are doing this for a reason. I need to find out what that reason is. And if they kill you? Another delegate asked. If they destroy your ship before you can speak? Smiled. It was a small, sad smile. Then you will be no worse off than before. But I do not think they will kill me. I think they are waiting for someone to ask the right questions. The Senate argued for hours, but in the end they had no other choice. They gave a ship. A small, fast vessel with no weapons. Volunteered to go with him. She did not know why. Maybe she wanted to understand. Maybe she wanted to see how the story ended. Did not refuse her. They flew toward the hollow. The journey took 5 days. Each day the darkness ahead grew larger. It was not really darkness. It was absence. Empty space where stars used to be. Planets that had been erased. Nothing left but void. On the 5th day they reached the edge. Looked out the window and saw them. The hollow ships. Millions of them. Black shapes that blocked out the stars. They moved like a swarm, like insects, like a living shadow. We should turn back, whispered. Every part of her body was screaming to run. No, said he was calm, too calm. We go forward. Their ship flew into the swarm, expected to be destroyed. She expected beams of light and fire and pain, but nothing happened. The black ships parted around them. They were being allowed to pass. They know we are here, said. They are curious. Deep in the center of the swarm they found it, the source. A massive structure, bigger than any space station had ever seen. It was not a ship. It was something else. Something old. Something that had been traveling through space for millions of years. Landed their ship inside. They stepped out into a dark hallway. The walls were smooth and cold. No lights. No sound, just darkness that seemed to breathe. They walked for what felt like hours, stayed close to. She was terrified, but she trusted him. She did not understand why, but she did. Finally, they reached a chamber, and in that chamber they found the hollow. It was not what expected. It was not a monster. It was not a machine. It was a creature, old beyond imagining, tired beyond words. It had no real shape. It flowed and shifted, made of shadow and starlight, but it had eyes, thousands of eyes, and all of them looked at. You came, the hollow said. Its voice was not sound. It was thought pressed directly into their minds. We have been waiting for so long, we have been waiting. Stepped forward, he was not afraid. Why, he asked. Why do you destroy, why do you consume? The hollow was silent for a moment, then it spoke again. We are dying, our people, our race. We have traveled through space for 1,000,000 years. We have used all our resources. We have nothing left. We consume to survive. It is the only way. There are other ways, said. You could ask for help. The galaxy has resources, food, energy. We could share. Share? The hollow sounded confused. We have traveled to 1,000 galaxies. No one has ever shared. They only fight. They only fear. They only hate. We learned long ago that taking is the only way to survive. You were wrong, said. Not everyone is the same. Not everyone will fight you. Some will help if you give them the chance. The hollow's many eyes narrowed. You are lying. It is a trick. Everyone has tried to destroy us. Why would you be different? Reached into his pocket. He pulled out the same thing he had given the lost child on the station, a piece of candy. He held it out toward the hollow. This is food, he said. It is small. It is nothing compared to what you need, but it is a gift, freely given, no tricks, no conditions, just kindness from a stranger. The hollow stared at the candy. Its 1,000 eyes were very wide. You give this, without wanting anything in return. Yes, said, that is what kindness means. The chamber was silent, held her breath. She watched the hollow stare at the small piece of candy in his hand. Such a tiny thing, such a meaningless gesture. How could it possibly matter? But it did matter, could see it. Something was changing in those 1,000 eyes. Confusion was becoming curiosity. Suspicion was becoming wonder. For the first time in 1,000,000 years, someone had offered the hollow something without demanding anything back. We do not understand, the hollow said. This is not how the universe works. This is how humanity works, said. We fight when we must. We are capable of terrible things, but we are also capable of great kindness, great mercy. We believe that everyone deserves a chance, even those who have done wrong, even those who have been our enemies. He stepped closer to the hollow. Stop the consumption. Stop the destruction. Ask for help instead of taking. I promise you, you will not be alone. There are beings in this galaxy who will help you survive. I will make sure of it. Why? The hollow asked. Why would you do this for us? We have destroyed so much, killed so many, we are monsters. Smiled, it was the same warm, sad smile had seen so many times now. I used to think I was a monster too, he said. Someone showed me I was wrong. Now I am showing you. The hollow was quiet for a very long time. Its form shifted and flowed. Its many eyes looked at, then back at. If we stop, the hollow finally said, if we ask for help instead of taking, what happens to the ones we have hurt? Will they want revenge? Some will, admitted. Change is hard. Forgiveness is harder, but I will stand with you. I will speak for you. I will make sure you get a fair chance. You would do that for us? Yes, said simply. More silence. Then slowly the hollow began to change. Its darkness became lighter. Its shape became softer. The hunger in its eyes started to fade. We accept, the hollow said. We will stop. We will ask. We will try this thing called kindness. Felt tears running down her face. She did not know when she had started crying. She watched hand the piece of candy to the hollow. Such a small thing. Such a powerful moment. They flew back to Station 12 together, and in a representative of the hollow. The Galactic Senate did not know what to do. They had expected war. They had expected death. They did not expect a peace treaty. It took months to work out the details. There were arguments, there were fights. Some races refused to help. Some wanted revenge, but kept his promise. He stood with the hollow. He spoke for them. He reminded everyone that mercy was stronger than hate. In the end, the galaxy changed. Not because of war, not because of weapons, because one man offered a piece of candy to a monster, because he showed kindness when everyone expected cruelty. Years later, wrote a book about what happened. She called it Whispers of His Name. She told the truth about, not the legend, not the monster, the man, the gentle soul who grew vegetables and read poetry and saved the galaxy with compassion. Went back to his village on Myra, back to his garden and his books and his quiet life. But now, when people whispered his name, they did not whisper it with fear. They whispered it with hope, because they finally understood the truth about humanity, the truth that had shown them. Humans were capable of terrible things, but they were also capable of something far more powerful. They were capable of love. And that was the most terrifying and wonderful thing in the universe.